Hi, my name's Karen. I'm with EasyLobby, and today I'm going to show you the major features of our visitor management software. First, we'll go over the lay of the land, what we're looking at here. Then we'll check a visitor in, we'll check them out, we'll process a returning visitor, we'll pre-register a visitor, we'll talk about the alerts and the reporting and some of the other features of the software, and then we'll talk about the database and the setup. So what we're looking at here is how the operator of the system sees the system. And this is what we call a grid view. And this shows information about visitors at a glance. And you can change what you see on the grid view by doing a lookup. So right now we're looking at all visitors. We could look at just today's visitors, or just current visitors, or just pre-registered, etc. Or do a lookup on a certain last name, certain company, visit date, etc. And you can change how the records are sorted within any of the lookups. So the lookup and sort by help you narrow down what you see on the grid view to certain types of visitors or a certain visitor in particular. And the visitors are coded by their status. The green circle with the blue arrow means that this visitor is checked into the facility. The red circle with the black arrow means that this visitor is checked out. The green circle with the red X means that this visitor's badge is expired, but they haven't checked out yet. And that can work in conjunction with an email that can automatically be sent to the system administrator and to the host to let them know, this visitor's badge is expired, but they haven't checked out yet. And then the host can let the operator know, oh yeah, our meeting ran over, or oh no, they left, so you know whether or not you have a potential issue. Pre-registered visitors are indicated in yellow, and we'll pre-register a visitor, but first we're going to check a visitor in and out so we can see all the features involved in that. So when a visitor arrives at your facility, the fastest way to enter their information into the system is to use the visitor's ID. Driver's license, business card, passport, military. If somebody doesn't have one of these or doesn't want to share it with you, you can always manually enter the information into the system. We work with a few types of input devices. One is called a license reader, and that will electronically read the mag stripe or 2D barcode on a license and can tell you whether or not it's a real license. So if you need that level of security, that's the device for it. The other device is a scanner, and there are 3 models to the scanner. There's a business card scanner, business card driver's license scanner, and business card driver's license passport scanner. And then there's another device that combines the two. So for licenses, it will scan and read at the same time. I have the business card driver's license scanner connected to my computer, so that's what I'm going to show you today. So I'm scanning my license. It'll do the optical character recognition, the OCR, and when it's done with the OCR, it'll create a record. Now I'm using my old license, so it's expired, so it's telling me that. I'm okay with that, so I'm going to continue. If you weren't okay with that, you could stop the process right there. And now it will create the record. If something didn't scan correctly, you can always correct it or cut and paste it into the correct field, and you determine ahead of time which fields are going to pull from the ID. So if you don't want to pull any of this information, you don't have to. The scanner can also pull the photo from the license and use it as the visitor photo, and can capture an image of the ID as well. And you can zoom in on these. And you don't have to pull these. You can pull one, the other, both, none, totally up to you. Now you can also scan a business card. So you can scan one ID or the other. Or if somebody has both, you can scan both by scanning one. So we scan the license. Choose the merge icon, which is the gray boxes with the red arrow. Put the other ID in the scanner. It'll scan it, do the optical character recognition. And when it's done with the OCR, it'll merge the information onto the same record. If we hadn't chosen the merge icon, it would create a new record for that scan. And now we have a record with the information from both IDs on it. The operator can choose a reason for the visit, and the reasons are all preloaded for the operator, so they're just choosing from the list. And you populate all the drop-down lists. So what you're seeing on my system is just sample data. There are 4 standard levels of login to EasyLobby: administrator, manager, operator, and novice. And as you log in at the different levels, different menu items, different icons, and different buttons will go away. So there is restricted access to the system. I am logged on as administrator, so I can show you all the features. And we added the ability to create your own user login levels, so you can determine which users have access to which features. The operator can choose who's being visited, and if you have a database or a listing of all the people to be visited, you can use that to import the information into EasyLobby via our import utility. And that utility comes with our software, and you can set that up on your Windows scheduler so that this list is always updated. And your choice for source on the utility are a CSV file, Active Directory, or ODBC. And the operator can just start typing the name to bring them down to that section of the list so they don't have to scroll. And you can change the label on this field. So if you don't call the people being visited employees, if you call them associate or host or sponsor or staff or something else, you can change that to whatever you want to call them. You can make any field or fields required. You'll notice first name and last name have asterisks because I made those required fields. And or if you're not using a field or fields, you can disable them so they'll gray out like the title field so the operator doesn't have to worry about entering into it. You can also change the labels on the company, title, reason, category, and clearance fields, as well as employees. So if you want to use those to capture different information, you may. You can categorize your visitors. You can have as many or as few categories as you'd like, and the categories allow you to print out a different badge template for each category. So a badge for visitor can look and feel very different than a badge for vendor or contractor, or somebody coming in for an interview, someone going to a certain area of the facility, an employee who forgot their regular badge needs a temporary one, however you want to categorize your visitors. The clearance field can be used to allow or deny entry to other SVM stations. So if you have restrictions, say a visitor is allowed in building A but not building B, you can set those up as clearances and restrict them that way. You can pull the photo of the visitor from their license, you can right-click and load it from a file, or you can always take a picture on the spot with any web camera. So if somebody doesn't have a license or doesn't want you to scan it or doesn't look like their picture and you require an updated one, you can always take that on the spot with any web camera. And we used to only offer one photo, and our customers told us that they really want to be able to take a picture of the visitor and capture an image of what they presented for identification. So we added the ability to have more than one photo. We're very customer driven. If you find there's something that you need, it's not readily apparent in the software, talk to us about it. A lot of times it may end up as a feature. We can also capture a signature and assign it to a signature type. So if you require that your visitors sign in and or sign some kind of document, you can do that as well. This works with a signature capture pad, similar to what you've seen if you've charged anything lately. And the ability to do these are features of the software. So if you don't want to capture signatures or photos, you don't have to. If you decide later you do want to, all you need to do is hook up the associated hardware. We have 24 user-defined fields for any custom information you want to capture about your visitor that's nowhere else in the system. And you determine the labels for these tabs, the labels for the fields, and what kind of fields they are. So whether they're text boxes, drop-down list boxes, date fields, or check boxes. And these fields can print on the badge template, so you can really use them for whatever you like. And if you're not using a tab or tabs, you can disable them so they won't display. There's a Notes tab, so if you want to freeform notes about the visit, you may. And we give each visit a custom ID. And that's the unique identifier for the duration of the visit. And the duration is derived from the valid from valid to, and my default is set up that badges I create are valid from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. If a visitor is going to be here for longer or shorter, or more than one day, the operator can override the default. They can bring up the calendar to indicate how many days someone's going to be here, and or change the times if someone's here longer or shorter. We work on an enterprise site station paradigm, and we automatically record the location where the visitor came in and where they left from, and we can integrate with access control systems. And we do that via our integration module, which is a separate piece of software that we sell, in which the information you enter into EasyLobby is seamlessly passed to your access control system. And you can pass door codes or security codes via the category or clearance fields, and you don't have to pass every single visitor, just those that need an access control card. And record the card number here in the prox card field. You can check in a visitor without printing a badge, or when you print a badge, it'll automatically check the visitor in, so that's a nice one-step process for the operator. I have an alert set up on initial check-in, and we'll talk about the alerts in a bit. We have over 200 different badge templates and a custom badge designer integrated in the software. So pretty much anything you want to put on your badges, you may. We also work with just about any Windows-compatible printer, so you also have a choice in how you print your badges out, whether you print them in black and white or color, or an adhesive stock, non-adhesive, self-expiring, hard card. You have lots of choices. This particular badge template would use your logo, welcome to organization, picture of the visitor, picture who they're visiting, visitor information, any special requirements, check-in date and time, custom ID, and a barcode of the custom ID. And this barcode comes in handy when it's time to check the visitor out. You can take a barcode scanner, scan the visitor's badge when they leave, it'll automatically find their record and check them out. If the visitor's here for more than one day, or they're here for a whole day and they keep entering and leaving the facility, you can continue to check them in and out with the barcode scanner every time they enter and leave for the duration of the visit. And the other way to use the barcode is if you're expecting visitors, you can pre-register them. You can print out their badge ahead of time without checking them in. When the visitor arrives, you can scan their pre-printed badge with the barcode scanner. It'll automatically find their record and check them in. So the whole idea is to streamline the check-in and check-out of visitors. And you don't have to use the barcode scanner to check a visitor out. You could always manually check them out with the checkout button on their record, or from any visitor's record, or from the grid view, you can use this quick out button, in which case you'd enter the custom ID for the visit, so we recommend putting that on the badge. It's going to confirm who you want to check out in case you type the name incorrectly, the number incorrectly. And once you do that, it'll find that person's record and check them out. And the F12 button will do the same thing, and those will both do the multi-day check-in and check-out as well. And the entry log tab will show all the check-ins and check-outs for the duration of the visit. And that's the basics of checking a visitor in and out. Let's pretend it's a month later. Lucy, who's been here before, has returned. What we could do is scan her ID again, take her picture, etc., because each visit is a unique occurrence. So it's going to create a new record for each visit. So because Lucy's been here before, we can use her prior visit to create her current visit. And to do that, we choose Returning Visitor, and the icon for that looks like a little matador here with the red arrow. Enter information about the visitor, and you can put in partial lookups. It'll find all the matches for what you entered. If there's more than one match, you can click on each match. It'll bring up the last visit date and a picture if there is one. And when you confirm, it'll create a new record for that visit. Notice there's a new custom ID. The defaults are back, they're no longer checked in, but all the information from that prior visit is still there. And there are settings to replicate the photo or not, and same with signature. And that's Returning Visitor. Now we're going to pre-register a visitor. There's a few ways to do this. One way is to have the host call down to the operator of the system and give them the information about the visit and the visitor. And the host can give the operator as much or as little information as they want, or as is required by your procedures. The operator will choose the pre-register button. We'll ask the host for an arrival date and time, departure date and time, location. There's a preprint button here in case the operator wants to preprint the badge to have it ready for when the visitor arrives. And when you see OK, the visitor is pre-registered. You can see their status, their authorization period. They're indicated with a solid yellow circle, and that is on the grid view as well. And that means that this person is pre-registered and arriving today. There's a preprint button on the grid view because the operator can do a lookup and sort by, find everybody from the same meeting, highlight all their records, and preprint their badges to have them ready for when they arrive. Or when a pre-registered visitor arrives, the operator can do a lookup and find their record that way. Or the operator can scan the visitor's ID and do an automated pre-registration match. So I'm scanning our visitor's ID, and it will pop up and say, hey, this person's pre-registered. It doesn't match on the name, which is why I always like to put a little bit more identifying information. If it's a popular name and it's not the person you're expecting, you can create a new visitor. If it is the person you're expecting, you can select the pre-registered visitor, and it'll update the information on the record with the information from the scan. Another way to pre-register visitors is through another piece of software that we sell called eAdvance. And this works off of a web server, and it allows whoever you give access to this web page the ability to pre-register their own visitors. And it's very easy to change the look and feel of this page so it'll match your website. So whether you want to put it on your internet or intranet, and if you don't have a common web server, we also offer hosting services. And we had our eAdvance set to log in. So we logged in as Howard. And because we logged in as Howard, it shows his name as the person being visited. And he has a down arrow. And that's because he's what's called a gatekeeper. He can pre-register visitors on behalf of other employees in his department or his company, depending on which type of gatekeeper he is. We could have designated Howard as an individual, in which case he'd only have his name here, he'd only be able to pre-register visitors for himself. And then we fill out information about the visit, the visitor, submit it, it'll write the information into the EasyLobby database, and the procedure is the same when the visitor arrives. And you can view your history, who you've pre-registered, you can pre-register a returning visitor, you can pre-register groups of visitors, and you can also indicate whether someone's pre-registrations need to be approved or if they're an approver. And that's eAdvance. It's another way to enter visitor information into the EasyLobby database for visitors you know are coming via a web browser, takes the onus off of the system operator, puts it onto the person expecting the visitor. We also have alerts. We have a watch list, which will highlight attention to visitors, whether it's good attention or bad attention. So whether you're having a board meeting and it's board members, or it's someone who's not allowed in, like a stalker. And you control who's on the list, whether they have pictures, aliases, their information, if they're welcome, unwelcome, or just cautious, if it's always enabled or just between specific dates, and if there's any special instructions. And we've partnered with companies that allow you to do instant online checks of government-denied party list and sexual offender lists. So if you need those services, they're available on a yearly subscription basis. And let's see what happens when someone on our watch list tries to check in. So a visitor arrives. We'd scan their ID, but I don't have this person's ID, so I'm going to click New and manually enter their information. When we try to print them a badge or check them in, it's going to pop up an alert to the operator. This person's on the watch list. And now we know this person isn't welcome, not only because it says so in the instructions, but because their warning came up in red. So they're color-coded. Red is unwelcome, green is welcome, yellow is cautious. And we could also look at the visit rejection history, the count, and the dates and times that this person tried to get in. And this person isn't welcome, so we're going to deny them. We also have a frequent visitor alert, and this was designed for our customers who needed to take action on a certain number of visits by visitor. So one of our customers, their visitors on their 10th visit have to fill out paperwork before they're allowed in the facility. So when the visitor hits that 10th visit, this will pop up an alert to the operator. It's the 10th visit, give them the paperwork. And you can create as many of these kind of alerts as you need, determine the number of visits, the time frame, the instructions, whether or not it should stop displaying, and if it's for all categories or a specific category. And because you can specify a category, some of our customers like to set up what they call a forgetful employee alert, where they give their employees a grace period for forgetting their badge, and then they start telling on them. We also have a time-based alert, which is similar, but it's based on a time interval as opposed to number of visits. And this is where the alert was programmed that popped up on our first visit. So in this case, people on their first visit need to do a non-disclosure, and then every year they need to redo it when it expires. And we created these kind of alerts for our customers who have their visitors sign rules and regulations or view safety videos or something to that effect that they typically have to do on a first visit and or some period of time later. And this way the operator will know when those are due. It takes the guesswork out of it. The maximum visitor alert will limit the number of concurrent visitors, and this was designed for hospitals, so it can limit the number of concurrent visitors to a particular patient type. And you can have a watch list match on company name and country name. So if you need to include or exclude based on company and or country, you can do that as well. And that's the alerts. We also have package management, so you can check packages in and out, and you can email the recipient that they have a visitor or package. And to do that manually, you would choose the envelope icon. And there are settings to just have this email send automatically. So the operator wouldn't even see it. Whenever they check in a visitor or package, it would automatically email the recipient that they have one, or the email can format automatically, and then the operator can decide whether or not to edit it or even send it at all. The telephone icon uses a telephone line and an auto dialer on your computer, and that dials the recipient's number, and the operator can pick up the phone and let them know they have a visitor or a package waiting for them. We also have asset management, so if you need to loan items out, you can create those items and then loan them. So you can say what you're loaning out, to whom, and for how long. And there are grid views, so you can see what's in and what's out. We also have lost and found, and we have reporting. We have over 40 CAN reports. We have a report wizard, and we have a current visitor report, a visit history report, and a panic message. And these are available from the file menu and from icons. The panic message will send a pre-formatted email to pre-designated recipients with whatever you want it to say. It could say there's a situation in the lobby, please come immediately. If there's a problem in the building, I need a list of current visitors, say there's an emergency. It's a nice one-click to email and to bring up the current visitor report. And with any of the reports, you can print them, change the printer they print to, or export them to one of many different file formats for analysis. And on our grid view, we have this export to Excel button. So once you do the lookup and sort by, you can export the information to Excel. The database is ODBC. On our disk, we have Microsoft Access and Microsoft SQL Express, and we also work with Microsoft SQL Server and Oracle. So you determine the reliability and scalability of your database by which one you choose to work with. The way we do our networking is that everywhere you need to process visitors, you need a copy of EasyLobby SVM. and then the database can be centrally located. So that's how they network together, is they'd share the same database. And with each copy of EasyLobby SVM, you receive an EasyLobby Administrator Program. And the Administrator Program allows each level to log in and do what their level allows, but nobody can enter or change visitor information in the Administrator Program. So basically the Administrator Program is used to monitor who's in and out via the grid view, to do reporting, and to change the settings. And you can put the Administrator Program on any computer that can connect to the database. We can also run in a self-registration mode. So if you wanted to set up as a kiosk, have visitors come in, scan their own IDs, take their own pictures, etc., you can do that as well. And we have another piece of software called a satellite. And the way this works is that you may have areas of your facility that you want to checkpoint people. Different labs or different rooms you want to make sure people went into and out of. Or might have more than one exit and you want to make sure people are checking out. So a visitor comes in, gets badged at SVM, goes over to satellite, scan their badge, and it will show their arrival at that point. And if they're denied, it will show their denial in red. And when they leave, you can scan their badge, and it will show their departure from that point. And back in SVM, when you refresh that visitor's record, it'll show all the checkpoint arrivals and departures as well as check-ins and check-outs for the visit. And that is the system in a nutshell. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, please contact us at sales@easylobby.com, or you can phone us at 781-455-8558. Thank you.